What's going on, guys? I'm Soldier Only. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Dose. What we're going to be talking about today is some of the changes and some of the stuff that we would like to see in Destiny 2. Now, I know that I have already touched this subject a little bit on last week's episode of Destiny Unplugged, but today I just kind of wanted to expand on that a little bit more and also get some other ideas from Homicidal Lou and some of the viewers. One thing Homicidal Lou has already mentioned, he said a more wide range of missions and places to go could be for starters, right? And I fully agree with this. I was actually just telling him before I started recording that when I first started playing Destiny, I wasn't doing YouTube or streaming or anything like that. Only kind of content I was really creating was a blog that I had, and I wrote a review on Destiny, and that was one of my kind of only criticisms at the beginning, was that there wasn't a big variety of the missions themselves. I remember at the time I was thinking that a lot of the missions were just, kill the enemies and guard the ghost while it opens the door for you, or hacks a computer, or whatever it was doing. So I personally, like that right off the top of my mind, definitely I would like a wider range of missions, more places to go. I have heard a lot of people in the community say that a lot of Destiny players think that we came back to Earth too much. Granted, I get it. That's where the tower is, and it is the home base and stuff. So it's going to be interesting for Destiny 2 because what we know already, that the tower's attacked, the tower's destroyed, our loot's gone, where the Guardians and the tower's residents are scattered. So it's going to be interesting to see how much is going to take place, like in the Cosmodrome areas or the Earth. I mean, we do know. I mean, they have said that there is going to be like new worlds to explore, and things like that. So it's. And another thing is also, are we gonna, like, what planets are going to be returning? What new ones is there? I would imagine. I mean, obviously we're going to have an Earth again, obviously. But then as far as returning planets, like whether it be the Moon, Mars, Venus, and what other ones on top of that. So it's going to be interesting to see. Homicidal Lou also said the options of what can be used is endless. And that's true as well. When he said that earlier, what I was telling him is there's so many plot threads that are open right now that like he said, the possibilities are literally endless of what they can do. We don't even know what the Traveler itself is. There's all these different races. Like we know the Cabal. We know it's heavily focused on the Cabal since they are attacking the tower in the last city. We still don't even know what the last stranger is. We don't know what Eris Morn and the Queen is doing. I mean, we officially don't even really know if the Queen is even alive. But I think wasn't it? I think I heard something like a developer of Bungie or something tweeted, or something actually accidentally slipped out that the Queen actually is alive. So I'm really excited to see what comes of that in the future as well, especially with how the Taken King ended with Eris Morn. We kind of don't really know what's going on with that. I mean, and some of the obvious things that I've talked about before, what we need in Destiny 2, we obviously need the dedicated servers. That's a must at this point. It's going to be on PC, so the PC version at least has to have 60 frames per second. It would be nice if the console versions do as well, especially with the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio. So, I mean, obviously I just have to get those out of the way, because those are the must, the guaranteed things. That's a given that we should have. Homicidal Lou also says more elemental burns could be possible, as well as a couple of entirely new races. Yeah, see, that's another thing too. Yeah, new races. Like I was just saying, there already is quite a few races out there. But with Taken King, we pretty much finally killed Oryx off. So what kind of role or how much are we going to see of the Taken? So if the Taken isn't in it that much, then that can pave way for more races and new species to come in. Already in the trailer, we have seen. It looks like some weird kind of like Cabal kind of like dog kind of thing. It looks like some weird kind of like dog kind of thing. So even if it's not necessarily an entirely new races, you just see different versions of a race that we already know, but just versions of them that we haven't seen. Especially with the Cabal, there's supposed to be this new division of the Cabal called isn't it the Red Guard or something? I think it's called the Red Guard. With Gary or whatever it says in the trailer. His name is Gary Gall. Homicidal Lou says, I would also like to see more additional game modes. One that I had in mind was what's that race name more? Oh, you put the race name in there like Cabal or Fallen or whatever. Can have up to 16 players. Survival-based mode with endless waves getting more difficult during progression. Okay, so something more almost like a horde mode is almost what that kind of sounds like. The survival-based mode with endless waves getting more difficult. Yeah, that's almost like a horde mode, and I've seen that talked about in the past from members of the Destiny community, that they've wanted a more traditional like kind of horde mode, and that's kind of like that is almost what it seemed like that they were going for at first with the Archon Forge, but as we all know, that isn't like a traditional like horde mode that you see in like Gears of War and things like that. Even Warframe has a mode like that where there's waves and it gets progressively harder each wave. I haven't played a lot of that mode on Warframe though, so I also don't have. I'm also not too crazy experienced with it. But yeah, I agree. I'd also like to see more game modes. It's going to be interesting to see what they do as far as PvP. What kind of changes there is going to be to PvP. Like, are we going to have trials, Iron Banner, like any changes that we're going to be seeing to stuff like that. Especially with them having PC. I mean, we talked about this the other day on the Daily Dose. That with the PC community coming over, with a lot of the PC gamers being competitive multiplayer players, what kind of modes are they going to have as far as PvP? So yeah. Homicidal Lou says possible weapon classes. So possible weapon classes more superior than exotic. So like a whole nother tier of weapons. I mean that can be done as well, because when you look at games like Borderlands 2, they have, I can't remember how many it is, but there's so many more tiers of the weapon classes. I think there's literally like it's more like 5 or 6, maybe even 7. Like there's literally a lot more. I mean, in Destiny you have 3. There's the green, blue, or purple, and then exotic. Sorry, 4. So yeah, I mean that is a definite possibility, is that they add another weapon class higher than exotics. I'm really interested to see what kind of changes they do to the weapons, and for the armor as well. But especially the weapons, especially when it comes to the perks and upgrading and weapon crafting and things like that. I really like the system in Ghost Recon Wildlands. I actually heard this in a Destiny podcast today too. They were talking about that they would like to see when you make changes to your weapons, like when you change around the perks and stuff, that you can actually see that it actually changes the weapon more cosmetically. So I mean, when you change the scopes in Destiny 1, you can see it change on the weapon, but that's pretty much about it. So think if in Destiny 2, maybe if you change if you change like the mag or the barrel or other parts to it, you actually see it changed in game. You actually see the change cosmetically on the weapon would be a lot more. I mean, I've kind of already mentioned in the past too that I would like to see more options to differ one version of a weapon to another. So for instance, say like I have a Monte Carlo and then Homicidal Lou has a Monte Carlo, but his Monte Carlo will be drastically different from mine. I would like to see a lot more variety in the archetypes of the weapons as well too. There is in Destiny 1 there isn't really that big of a variety between them. I mean, you get like a certain archetype of, we'll say like a pulse rifle, and then all of them in that archetype there isn't that big of a difference between each one. So I would like to see more opportunity to customize a weapon, more than just a few perks that you can change around on it. So like I was saying, so then one version of the same weapon could be very different than from another. And it goes right alongside, as well as what I've said before in the past as well too, is that I would like to see loot pools different for PvE and PvP. Because how many times in Destiny 1 have we seen we've seen an overpowered weapon, maybe it's overpowered in PvP, but then the changes that they do to it, it totally destroys the weapon for PvE, and vice versa. It would be nice if we have a totally separate loot pool between PvE and PvP. Homicidal Lou says, I was thinking you can have a good versus bad mode. 6v6, one team is Guardians and the other team is the chosen enemy race. Yeah, see, that would be an interesting one too. So to where if it was a PvP mode, to where one of the teams can actually play one of the enemy races. Yeah, so especially since we know Destiny 2 is focused around the Cabal, you can have one team be the Guardians and one team be Cabal soldiers. And yeah, that'd be an interesting one as well, especially when you see games that have kind of done that before with I can't think of any specific ones, but I've seen games before where the enemy or the other team can be like a zombie or something from the enemy of the the PvE game. I'm really stoked for the May 18th gameplay reveal to see what they're actually going to show. I mean, we don't know if they're going to actually be showing like PvE gameplay or PvP. I kind of have a feeling that they'll probably start off the stream by showing probably whatever kind of social space they'll have. I mean, we know the tower is gone, so maybe it's some kind of outpost or town or something. It'll be something like that. Oh, Plants vs Zombies did it in Garden Warfare 2. Okay, yeah, so where they can play the enemy in PvP. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that game, but I've never actually played it. Yeah. So yeah, once again, we're just kind of slowly chugging along until we get to May 18th for that live gameplay reveal stream, where we should finally, we are going to finally get a look at gameplay, and and I'm sure a lot more information will come out as well too. So that's going to do it for today's edition of the Daily Dose. Thanks for watching this. If you're watching it on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button if you like the video, sub to the channel for more content, and you can catch the Daily Dose live at the beginning of every stream at twitch.tv/soldieronly. I stream Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and pretty much all day on the weekends, usually start around noon Mountain Time. So yeah, we'll see you there. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Cheers.